You're listening to the Journey to Launch podcast. Give yourself more credit and honor the journey. A personal coaching conversation with Saundra Davis.
T-minus 10 seconds.
Welcome to the Journey to Launch podcast with your host, Jamila Souffrant. As a money expert who walks her talk, she helps brave journeyers like you get out of debt, save, invest, and build real wealth. Join her on the journey to launch to financial freedom in
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, journeyers. All right. Now, if you are listening to this in real time, that means, wow, you're like a true and tried journeyer because it's right before Thanksgiving, or maybe you're listening to this on like after Thanksgiving or within Thanksgiving week, but this is coming out the day before Thanksgiving. And I wanted to do something really unique and special. I've never done this before, but I'm going to be sharing a conversation that happened within the Money Launch Club. So the Money Launch Club is my membership community, and I often invite previous podcast guests into the Launch Club to just have casual conversations. Sometimes they're, teaching about a subject. Sometimes I'm teaching a specific class about a subject. And a lot of the times we're having casual conversations with past podcast guests. And so this conversation is actually taken from a after show chat in the Money Launch Club that I did with Saundra Davis. So I want to give you just a little context and background. Saundra was initially on 169 of the podcast. So you can listen to that episode if you want after this one. There's no prerequisite, but you'll get better context for who Saundra is from listening to that show. I've had a lot of journeyers say like that was one of my just favorite shows that you've done with Saundra. So Saundra was on episode 169, and I'll talk a little bit more about her background in a bit. But Saundra, she and I follow each other on Instagram, and she just has this unique, amazing spirit about her. There's a few people that you meet and you're just like, oh, they just seem so warm and nice, right? It just really comes through in whether it's on like through camera or audio, you just feel connected. And part of that came through on her episode, and she really did a good job with her conversation on episode 169, talking through the emotional, mental challenges and things that you have to work through to reach your goals and financial freedom. And then she just has a unique story, I believe. It's not even that it's unique. I think this is a story that many people go through, but she, says she's made every financial mistake in the book, and she has basically been able to turn her life financially around, have her own business, and has been in the game in terms of being in the personal finance space as a financial educator and coach for a few years now. So I like say she's like one of the veterans in terms of just her impact and what she's done in the personal finance space. So I posted something on my Instagram, on my Jamila Souffrant Instagram, and I believe I also posted it on Journey to Launch, where I talked about just 2020. And you might hear this also in the conversation, but just bear with me. I'm going to give you a little context again. But I said in that post that, wow, 2020, I was always waiting for a big thing to happen in 2020 because my mom, she always said every 2 years, something major happens to you. So basically in 2019, she was like, I know 2020 is just something amazing is going to happen. And so I was like waiting all 2020, like, okay, what's that big, amazing thing? Because every 2 years of my life, something amazing has happened in my recent adult years. So 2010, I got engaged, and 2012, I got married. And then 2014, I had my first kid. 2016, I had my second kid. 2018, I had my third child. And so 2020, I felt like, okay, this is going to be your breakout career year. And when it comes to career, it's Journey to Launch. That is almost like my fourth baby, but it's not, it's not just a baby. It's just like, this is now what I do. This is my gift or my contribution to the world, right? And there's going to be something major that happens with this. And so I was kind of waiting for that major thing to happen. And I posted about it on Instagram, acknowledging though that this has been a really good year for myself and Journey to Launch, despite everything happening in the world right now, the pandemic, the uncertainty of things, this election, everything. So I posted that, and Saundra, she responded, and she was just like, listen, I think we need to have a conversation. I'd love to have a coaching conversation with you about this. And so I was like, okay, for sure. Because I knew that she would have some really good insight on mindset around how I'm viewing 2020 And I was like, you know what? Would you be willing to come into the Money Launch Club and do this within the community? Because I know this conversation will help my members out so much. And she was like, sure. So she graciously gave her time, came into the Money Launch Club. And this conversation that you're about to hear was actually done on video. So we were on video with other members. And the first part of the call is what you're here. That's where she's actually coaching me and talking to me through my, I wouldn't say hangups, but just how I'm viewing my journey and giving me a lot to reflect on. And so it helped Money Launch Club members. And I was like, you know what? I want to put this out for all journeyers to hear. And while she is specifically talking to me, this is something that you can apply to your own life. So while she's asking me questions, I want you to think about your answers to these questions, how it applies to your life. And again, I want it to be, transparent. I know a lot of you guys listen to this show and you're just like, wow, Jamila has it all together. And, I'm not denying that because I don't want to downplay my impact and my voice. I know that I've done a lot in seemingly a short amount of time when it comes to Journey to Launch, and that I am a leader in a sense that I have you listening who are wanting to maybe learn from what I'm doing. So not only from the guests that come on, but just from my own personal journey to financial independence, my own personal journey as an entrepreneur, as a mom of 3 small kids, all these things that create who I am. I know at some levels, this is what connects you to me and Journey to Launch. And to share the behind the scenes, like the struggles that I've had, that I'm having mentally, emotionally, dealing with all the things, pandemic, virtual learning, all these things that I'm juggling, that it's not just me. I know you guys are juggling with the same or just different scenarios and tools that you are figuring out how to use. I thought that this would be a really transparent moment to share with you. And I really hope that this helps you on your journey. I will come back at the end of this and give some just takeaways and some things that I think we all can do to end this year and to claim it as our year. So I hope you really enjoyed this conversation. I just want to give another shout out to Saundra. So Saundra Davis, she is of Sage Financial Solutions. So she is a nationally recognized financial coach, educator, consultant, and dynamic motivational speaker. She is passionate about her work with community-based organizations that focus on asset building for the working poor. You can find out more about Saundra at sagefinancialsolutions.org and then follow her on Instagram at sage.money. So you can follow Saundra at sage.money on Instagram. First, a word from today's sponsor. Now, did you know that some credit unions offer rates that are more competitive than traditional banks? You'll most likely earn and save more money by banking with your local credit union. For example, at DCU, their members have the ability to activate the Earn More feature on their checking account and earn an annual percentage yield that's higher than many other financial institutions. And if you think your money is more at risk or that it will be harder to access your money at a credit union than a traditional bank, think again. Just like the FDIC insures deposits up to $250,000 at a traditional bank, deposits up to $250,000 at a credit union are insured by the NCUA. You can also access your money held at a credit union at any time from most any ATM, just like you would if your money were at a traditional bank. Most credit unions are part of the large participating networks of ATMs that are surcharge-free. Members of DCU have access to over 80,000 surcharge-free ATMs nationwide that display the Allpoint, Sum, or Co-op logos. DCU also reimburses members for non-DCU ATM surcharges that they may incur if they use an ATM outside the surcharge-free network. Pretty good stuff, right? To learn more, check out dcu.org. And stick around to the end of the show for the DCU Money Tip of the Week, where I'll be sharing money tips to help you save and manage your money so you can reach your goals. Real quick, I could not let this pass without telling you that doors to the Money Launch Club are open, but only for a short amount of time. I decided to open up doors to the Money Launch Club, the membership community for journeyers just like you listening who need more support, more tools, more resources to help you on your journey to financial freedom and independence. Now, doors to the Money Launch Club will probably not open again until 2021. I decided pretty much last minute, you know what, let's give an opportunity to people who want to join us in this amazing community. And so if you want to join us, now is your chance. I'm only opening doors until November 29th. So if you want to join us, go to moneylaunchclub.com. As a member of the community, you get the support tools, education, and plan to reach your financial goals. You get accountability, you get group coaching, you get education. And did I mention there is a private podcast feed? So one of the new features that we've added is that all our content, even if you're just joining, you'll get access to in a private podcast feed. So you can listen on the go in your favorite podcast app, just like you're listening here, to previous classes and after show chats and then future content. So I'm so excited about what's going to be happening for Launch Club members in 2021. And if you want to join us, now is your time. Go to moneylaunchclub.com right now to join us before November 29th, and doors close again, and they won't be open until 2021. If you want the episode show notes for this episode, go to journeytolaunch.com, or you can click the description of wherever you're listening to this episode to get the full episode show notes. Now, if you are a new listener to the podcast or an OG journeyer, I've created a jumpstart guide to help you on your journey to financial freedom. It includes the top episodes to listen to, the stages to go through to reach financial freedom, resources to help you, and so much more. Get it for free by texting LAUNCH to 33777. Text LAUNCH to 33777 or go to journeytolaunch.com/jumpstart to get your guide for free right now. Okay, let's hop into the episode. Thank you, Saundra, so much for coming on and doing this chat.
Thank you, sweetheart. So the thing about setting goals or looking at where we are and where we want to be is the first thing to know is that everything that you have ever done, everything that you have ever learned, experienced, whether you deem that experience as pleasurable or not, everything brings you to where you are right now. You are the culmination today of everything that you've ever learned and experienced. And so you get to decide how it serves you now, right? There are things that I did that really served me well. And then there are things that I did that really feels like set me back. The truth is, whether it set me back or not, it propelled me forward to where I am now. Does that make sense? So when I saw Jamila post that, my notion is, as someone who is observing you, and I've known you for a little bit, as observing you, it appears to me that this has been a breakout year. And I'm curious to know, and so to the degree that you're willing, what I'd like for you and I to do, Jamila, is to have a coaching conversation that lasts about 10 minutes. And then I'll invite the rest of the folks on the call to do this same thing with me if they want to. Does that sound okay?
That sounds amazing.
All right. Does that sound okay for you all, that will watch me do it? And then if you want to do it, we'll do it together. Okay. So talk to me a little bit about when you think back to the beginning of this year, and knowing that the notion of 2 years holds some importance for you because of what has happened. Describe for me what you wanted this year to look like for you.
I wanted this year, all my efforts with like Journey to Launch, and all the feedback and the impact that I've made on lives to be reflected in not just the business income, but like my income and how it could help fuel our family forward. And then I think also visibility. So while I know Journey to Launch itself is like, for who the people who know about it, it's like great. I know there are so many more people who could know about it, and which would then impact just how many people I can impact and everything else. So I thought too that this year would be more of a breakout in terms of growth and more people knowing about Journey to Launch, which would impact and then also revenue.
Okay. So when you look at where it is now, what has happened that aligns with what you thought would happen?
Well, the crazy thing is the business has done really well compared to last year. It's not like Journey to Launch isn't making money. I've been able to pay myself, I've been able to invest again. The podcast, the brand is growing. I got my first like major partnership, which was really great because it's like such an alignment. And I've announced it already with DCU. It's a credit union that has been wonderful. So it's funny because a lot of great things have happened. And then I think there's also the fog of all the other things that have just made things harder to juggle, homeschooling and life. And
yeah, so I'm going to ask you if you would be willing to reframe that part. Can we do that?
yeah.
Right? So here we are, 10 months into a global pandemic. And in that global pandemic, your business has grown, your income is growing, you've been able to pay yourself, and you are homeschooling your child, and you're healthy. And from all appearances, the smile on your face kind of indicates happy. So when we think about the environment that we're in and your resilience in that environment, how would you label that?
Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And if I can, my perspective from where I sit, having kind of watched you blossom from the time that we met until now, what I notice is a confidence in you that seems to be both really, really grounded in what you know and do well, and simultaneously open to learning more and deeper things. That's what it looked like to me. Does that resonate with you as well?
Yes, it does.
So what core value that you have would that fit into? This notion of grounded in your knowledge and your core competencies and on the learning edge of the things that stretch you outside of your comfort zone. What core value do you hold that would matter?
I mean, my commitment to persistence in like overcoming adversity or challenging times.
Yeah. So let's think about, you have 2 young people, right?
3.
3 young people. Tell me their ages.
6, 4, and 2.
Okay. So let's think about commitment, persistence, adding value. What is important to you about that in the context of the people who are 2, 4, and 6?
Well, I want to model these behaviors for them. I mean, it's funny. I see my son like struggling like with schoolwork, and I can relate to him in a lot of ways because I used to be like that. But then also just like the same things he's struggling with in his brain that are so big are some of the things that I emotionally and mentally are struggling with. But I also feel like I don't have a lot of patience. So it's the same thing. I don't have a lot of patience when it comes to him and virtual learning, and same thing with myself in terms of not getting it right. Because I feel like I have all the equipment mentally. I have all the tools, it seems, to know how to get it right. Maybe I don't know how to use them in the right way yet, but it's frustrating when you know you can do better, or you can have a better positive attitude or be more patient. Like I know all those things. I know he needs more time, and he has his own brain, and it's not meant for him to sit in front of a computer. Like I know those things, but it still doesn't stop me from getting frustrated when he is kind of just being aloof. And same thing with me. Like I know there's a lot of challenging things happening, but I get frustrated at myself for not still being able to get it right all the time.
Yeah. So name for me someone or a situation that you're aware of that gets it right all the time.
No one. Not that I know of. Only on like Instagram when they only show like, the nice things, the positive things.
Right. So what do we learn when we don't get it right all the time?
That you're human, that it's okay.
Right, because we really wouldn't need patience if it all went right all the time.
Right.
So when we say, I notice that I'm not patient, the very fact of noticing that you may or may not be patient is in itself the moment of giving yourself the room to be patient, first with yourself and then with your son, right? Because if you can forgive you for not being perfect all the time, because we know you're perfect a lot of the time, but if you can give yourself the room to not be perfect some of the time, what will that do for him?
It would give him the space to forgive himself and be resilient. And that's the thing. He is so resilient. Even after I lose my mind, he's just like, okay, can I have a cookie? I'm just like, Okay.
Hey, the wonders of being six, baby. The wonders of being six. Right. And so if he is not holding a grudge, what value is there in you holding a grudge? Right? He's not mad at you for having that moment of imperfection. So what do you want to do with that?
Right.
Right. So when we think about what 2020 has brought us and what it has brought you, what feels really impactful for you this year?
I think it's the truth that I think I've always known and that I try to tell people, journeyers who listen to the podcast, is just that no matter the goals that you reach, if there's internal work to be done, they will still need to be done. So my goal for this year was I wanted to make money. I wanted Journey to Launch to make money. I wanted to be able to invest. I wanted all the things that are actually happening, but those have not still resolved in like the internal work that needs to be done. Right. So like, even though the business is still earning money, now my next thing is, well, now it needs to it's great that this was a great year, but this has to be an ongoing success. Right. So there's always a different level and goal that needs to be acquired. And I know that, like, conceptually, I know that. I've known that from past experiences, even that like there's some things that may happen. If they happen, will be great. But even if they do happen, that's still not going to change the new challenges that come with that. And so I think it's just an ongoing cycle that I know. So I think these are the truths that like I know to be true. And it's just more like, just here you go. Okay, you said you wanted to earn money. You wanted to have like great income for the year. Here you go. Here it is. Now what? And it's like, oh, now I have a new thing.
Right. So here's my question. And you can either answer it or you can just write it down for yourself, whichever you prefer. Okay. How will you know when you're satisfied?
You want me to answer it? I can.
It's up to you.
I think I know, but again, I think it's still going to be the new level, new devil kind of thing. But I think when I reach the place where I wouldn't have to or have an income, like reach financial independence, where literally if I chose not to do anything, I just chose, you know what, I'll do the podcast. I'll drop a podcast once a month. Do whatever I felt like doing. That's like where and not worry about any income or financial goals or expenses. Like, I think that would be.
So what will that do for you?
It would allow me to slow down a bit and step off the treadmill that I've created for myself.
So is it possible to have a successful business and not be on a treadmill?
I think it depends. Yes, it can be. There's a possibility.
Okay. So what does being self-employed give you?
Time freedom, flexibility. It's not totally free, but it's flexible.
Okay. And what will being financially independent give you?
There's no pressure to earn any income. Okay.
Is that the only difference between now and then?
I think so. I mean, that's the biggest difference, is the income part of it is, yeah.
So is it possible that the year of 2020 is the year that you gained the freedom, the flexibility, survived a pandemic, spent time with your kids, building a thriving business that continues to thrive? What else goes there?
I also got back into my health.
You got back into your health. Anything else?
And fitness. I'm sure there is. I can't think of it right now.
What have you done that's just been absolutely fun for you this year?
Discovering the beauty around my house, where I run and walk and
lovely.
hike.
Oh, that's right. You were exercising more, right? And taking us along on the journey. You actually got me up off the couch a couple of times.
Nice.
Anything else? I've got 7 so far. Anything else? Whatever you've done this year that has given you joy or felt like an accomplishment?
Well, earlier this year, I was able to, was it this year? No, that was last year. But I did get to travel and visit a friend before this all happened.
Okay. Anything else?
I've made time for watching shows that I like. Last year, I don't think I was doing much of that either.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
I think that's it. I mean, I'm sure there's more.
So we've got something here if we want to get to 10. I mean, I'm nerdy that way. I'm a Libra. It's necessary, right? What is one thing that you can do between now and 31 December that would feel like a real accomplishment for you?
I would like to actually in December, not like to take off, but meaning like not have any calls that I don't want to have, like literally just kind of like chill for a little bit.
Okay. So what does it take to do that?
Do all my podcast interviews like in November.
Okay.
Batch record them and just say no to a lot of incoming requests and people.
Are you willing to do that for Jamila?
Yes, I want to. I'm actually working and planning it that way.
So there's a gap between I want to and I will do. Which one of those do you want? I want to or I will do?
I will do.
Okay. What do you have to do to make that happen? You already said about the podcast. You said that already. What else?
Boundaries, like saying no to a lot of things.
Okay. What can help you do that?
Maybe like clear, not just in my head boundaries, but you'll say no to, like, write it down. Like, the only way you're saying yes to something is if it's already like.
Do you have paper and stuff in front of you? Is
I
there
do.
Anything near you? Okay, let's go ahead and write that down.
So I'm writing down like the boundaries.
You tell me.
All right, I wrote down 2 criteria.
Okay. What will having December off do for you?
It will just allow me to relax a bit.
Okay. What will that do for your family?
I can show up better for them.
So describe your December for me.
My December, there'll still be some virtual learning, but I would I'll be more relaxed because I don't have as many deadlines and things I have to do while I'm doing virtual learning.
Okay.
And a lot more time of just really doing the things I want to do. So not so focused on what other people want and need from me, but like, what do you feel like doing today?
Right. So 2020 is the year that Jamila owned December. There are 2 things that can happen when we want something to be different the way that than it is now. We can change the thing, or we can change the way we look at the thing. You get to decide if 2020 is a breakout year for you, right? It's going to be pretty hard to beat making babies, right? That's a tough one, right? It's going to be pretty hard to beat that. So if you're measuring something big or something breakout based on those past things, I mean, what's going to measure up to that, right? And you can look at what you have done this year in the midst of the most difficult time that our globe has experienced in centuries, right? And you can look at where you are now and what you want to do for yourself the end of this year and how you're modeling that for every journeyer, everyone who has the joyful moment of being able to come in contact with you, and for the 3 little people who are looking to you to be their role model. It's up to you. I'll leave any final words to you.
I'm going to have to listen to this again to really take it all in. Honestly, this is, and sharing this part, like first going through it and sharing it, I do want to be an authentic leader in a sense, but also not put too much pressure on myself to get it all right. So I want to, like, when I say things, actually also be doing those things. And I think people can pick up on that energy. And the same thing I talk about when I tell people, oh, you should earn, like demanding their worth, or like abundance with like the mindset and their income and spending in ways that align, all those things, like I am and I want to embody. Yeah. And I have to be true to that. And also it's about like protecting your energy, space, and time. Right. And so I think, again, that was great for me. I hope it was really helpful as you guys are listening in too. But I will be listening to this again and like really thinking about reframing, because it has been an amazing year.
It has kind of been an amazing year. So this is what I'll ask. I have a request, and anytime I make a request, you can say yes, no, or counter offer. What will it take for you to, and you don't have to say it now, but just identify what it'll take for you to truly be off in December, what it'll mean for you in November, and then who will be your accountability partner so that each week of November you have, this is what I'm going to get done so that I have December. This is what I'm going to get done so that I have December. And that whatever that means, whether it's an image, a picture, a song, something with your children, whatever is going to hold that vision of December for you, that you put that somewhere that you can see it. Does that sound like something you're willing to do?
It does. I'm going to definitely define that for myself, like, and make it specific.
Okay. And who's going to be your accountability partner?
I'm going to make Sha, because she's actually my friend in real life, not only a journeyer. So she's on the call. So I'm going to make her my.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And so now Sha has heard some of this.
Yes.
Okay. Wonderful. So, okay. That's you. All right.
Yes,
I see the smile. Okay. So the last thing that I will ask is that you send me a message at the end of December. It can be a text. It can be whatever, however you want to communicate, that just says, Saundra, I did it.
Mm-hmm.
That's that. You don't have to say any more. You can if you want, but just Saundra, I did it.
Right.
Are you willing to do that?
I am. And I do want to clarify, because you will see content in December.
That's not our business.
Okay. It's going to be what I choose to do.
It is your business. You get to decide. It is your business to do. All I'm inviting you to do is decide what your commitment to yourself is. How do you want to acknowledge it? Who's going to be your support system? And, how will you determine that that's been successful for you?
Mm.
You named your business and your club aptly. It is a journey. And a journey is just like a dance. Some step forward, some steps back. Right? And when we step back, it's nothing more than a cha-cha. So you get to be on this journey. You get to be all of your fabulous self. You get to do the dance. You're getting better all the time. And 2020 is just another one of those years of you becoming more and more amazing.
Thank you. So I just want to say thank you so much for doing this with us and taking the time and coaching me through this. And like I said, I'm really going to listen to this again. And I hope that everyone who's here and who's listening or watching actually follows through as Saundra was coaching me, like answers those questions that we can define. We set the definition of what a breakout, whatever is, year, month, day, and it's never too late. You can still claim this year.
That's right. And Jamila, if it's okay, ask them to follow me on Instagram too. I'm trying to pump these numbers up.
Yes,
I need some numbers, y'all. Help a sister out.
Yeah, say your Instagram here.
Oh, it's sage.money, SAGE.money. I'm kind of random. I'm not quite as, I want one day, Jamila, I'm going to look like you when I grow up on my Instagram, but I'm a little unruly now. So there's no telling what I might say.
What I'm going to do too is I'm just going to tag you in a screenshot. So if you learned anything and you're on social media, do me a favor and tag me and Saundra, especially Saundra, about what you learned from this session. That'll be really helpful for her. And then say your Instagram again. Oh,
sage.money.
Sage.money. Thank you so much, Saundra, again.
Sweetheart,
for doing
thank
this.
you. And Jamila, you are doing amazing, sweetheart. And you're not going to top making babies, because that's just something that I've done it. I only did it once because it hurts a lot. So, you just have to know that just the fact that you did it 3 times, you've made the world a better place, and you continue to do that with your bright smile.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right, sweetheart. You all take very good care. Let me know how things are going for you, okay?
All right, journeyers, I hope that you enjoy this conversation, this intimate conversation with Saundra. I hope through her asking me these questions and coaching me that it helped you. And she is so right. There are so many things that surviving, I've said this before, but surviving is thriving, meaning getting through all the things that you've gotten through in your life, not just this year, but in your life to get you to where you are, the stars that had to align for you to be born. That is not a mistake. The fact that we are alive, if you're listening to this, anything, all these things that create our lives, where we live, how we live, who our parents are, all these things that could have gone a different way. And sometimes maybe you did wish it went a different way and you had different things in your life, but all those things make you who you are today. Now add on that 2020 as being so random and so challenging for a lot of people, but then also the opportunities that came from this year. And to know that it's not over yet. And so I love that she was just 2020 is the year that you own December. And if you're listening to this in real time, December is to come, right? So I still have an opportunity. So recording this a little earlier in November, I'm preparing so that I can have the December that I want. Not just the December I want, but continuing the life that I want. I created and started Journey to Launch. I said it in the conversation about creating my own hamster wheel. And one of the reasons why I wanted to get off the hamster wheel at corporate America was because it didn't feel like I was in control of it. And so the last thing I want to do is create a life that I'm talking about financial independence. I have a business of my own, but it's still not something I love because I created a thing that I don't enjoy. Whether it is doing things I don't love for the business or saying yes to too many other people and not enough yeses to myself, all those things. Let's all do it together. Let's make the next few weeks, the next month, still our year. If you felt that, and that you define what it means for you. It is going to mean something different for everyone. It's not going to be it could be based on money or not based on money. It could be based on just finding some more mental relaxation, spiritual, emotional, whatever that means to you, you could still own this year. So do it with me. As I said, I give a disclaimer. Listen, you're still going to get episodes. You're still going to see content from me, but I want it to be things that I want to do. So that is my goal. So I want you guys to hold me to it in December and then going forward. And I hold you to the same. So if you are listening to this episode, whether you're listening to real time, the week that it's Thanksgiving or not, I want you to come on this journey with me, to commit to not only honoring how far you've come, but also committing to finding ways to enjoy the next parts of your journey, because it's far from over. It's never over. So hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please, here's a great thing that you can do. Tag me at Journey to Launch and Saundra on Instagram. So that's sage.money. She's sage.money on Instagram. And let us know your biggest takeaway or post it on your feed. Tag both of us so that I can repost it so other people can see this. For the most part, if you are, with family, I know this is like a different type of Thanksgiving and it's holiday season, that you are enjoying that time, but that you are really taking the time out to be thankful for everything you've accomplished and done this year. Surviving is thriving, and most of us have done more than just survive. We've been doing things that we didn't think we could. So as for my fellow parents out there, as you heard, I am struggling with this homeschool and virtual learning life, but we're getting through it. We're all being challenged, and from this, amazing things are happening, even if you can't see it or recognize it yet. And if you were impressed by the way Saundra walked me through those questions, and you are also in the personal finance space, you're a financial professional, and you want to learn how to impact your clients and to help them make the changes that they need to see in their lives to really help them with their finances, then you should definitely check out the Financial Fitness Coach Certification. That is a certification program run by Saundra. And again, if you want to really step up how you impact the lives of the people who are coming to you for financial help, and you liked what Saundra just did with me, check it out. You can go to sagefinancialsolutions.org for more information. Now, remember, you can still join us at the Money Launch Club. We're doing a flash opening of the Money Launch Club, the membership community. Don't forget, you only have until November 29th to join us to get all the support, tools, education, and plan you need to reach your goals. Go to moneylaunchclub.com to join us. Okay, now it's time for DCU's money tip of the week. Maintain your emergency fund. Having an emergency fund of at least $1,000 is a good idea to help cover an unexpected car repair or medical cost. Building up to a cushion of 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses can give you even greater peace of mind. If you want to check out the episode show notes, that's where you can get links to anything that's mentioned and even get a transcribed version of this episode that you can read. Go to journeytolaunch.com or click the description of wherever you're listening to this episode. Now, you can also still grab your free Journeyer Jumpstart Guide by texting LAUNCH to 33777 or go to journeytolaunch.com/jumpstart. If you want to support me and the podcast and love the free content and information that you get here, here are 4 ways that you can support me and the show. 1, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast wherever you listen, whether that's Apple Podcasts, that purple app on your phone, your Android device, YouTube, Spotify, wherever it is that you happen to listen, just subscribe so you are not missing an episode. And if you're happening to listen to this in Apple Podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe there. I appreciate and read every single review. Number 2, follow me on my social media accounts. I'm at Journey to Launch on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and I love interacting with journeyers there. 3, support and check out the sponsors of this show if you hear something that interests you. Sponsors are the main ways we keep the podcast lights on here, so show them some love for supporting your girl. 4, And last but not least, share this episode, this podcast with a friend or family member or coworker so that we can spread the message of Journey to Launch. All right, that's it. Until next week, keep on journeying, journeyers.